All right, everyone. A couple months ago, created a tier list talking about all the Agricola occupations and miners. It has been 2 months. It's been 2 months. I've been playing a lot of Arena since then. I think I have like 150 games or so on the Arena season. So I played a lot of Arena. I'm currently sitting at like 6th place. So I'm slowly on a trajectory up. So I just want to take this time. It's kind of close to the end of the season. It's kind of close to the end of season. I think this is season 6. So I just want to take a little time, talk about some things on the tier list, talk about some things I think are wrong, and talk about some things that I think are still right. In terms of where I would put things on the tier list, where I would move things, and just like talk through a couple things. And I'll go through occupations and miners here just because I don't want to create 2 separate videos about it, because why not just talk about all of them here, because I have a lot of new thoughts on things. And as a reminder for all the YouTube people, because I'm streaming this right now on Twitch at twitch.tv/EconSean, where I play lots of Agricola live and do some other things too. But if you're on YouTube, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. That helps out the channel a lot because these videos don't make any money. So I just do it because I like Agricola and chatting with people and stuff. So anyways, let's talk about things. So right off the bat, I'm going to say Begging Student is a card that I think should be higher up. Like Begging Student should be number 1 on the tier list, I think Begging Student should be number 1. I don't think it's remotely close right now. I think that Begging Student should definitely be number 1. It's definitely like way better than everything else. It gives such a big advantage in the game. Assistant Tiller, I will say, I overrated a lot based on... Not a lot. I overrated a little bit based on the fact that day labor combos were so easy to get. And if you do get a crazy day labor combo, it's like really ridiculous. But I have not seen... People draft the day labor cards too highly right now, and so for that reason, Assistant Tiller is not as good. Granted, I'm still going to be picking Assistant Tiller pretty highly because letting someone else get a day labor combo will completely crush your game if they get the right one. And if you get day labor combo yourself, you can just end the game immediately before the game even starts. But that being said, I would probably pick Begging Student always before Assistant Tiller because Begging Student is just that good. It's too efficient. Should probably be banned, honestly. It's just too good of a card. That being said, Childless I still rank really highly. Assistant Tiller I still rank really highly. Like, I probably put Assistant Tiller like somewhere around 3rd on this tier list or something like that. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit just to make it a little bit bigger. But yeah, Assistant Tiller I'd probably put like somewhere around 3rd. Like, I think that this poop emoji here is freaking me out. I think that... So, of these cards, Wind Hut Extender, I think, is also a little bit too high. I would actually take Wood Barter, which is down here, and I would move Wood Barter, like, way up. I think Wood Barter is, like, maybe the 5th best stock or something like that. Wood Barter is, like, so good. Like, it lets you build rooms early. It's like a Carpenter, except for that it also works on fence actions later on. Like Wood Barter can be as much as, like, 10 wood or something like that. Like, it can be really nuts. Like, at minimum, it's 4 wood. At maximum, it's 10 wood. I think Wood Barter should be, like, 4th or 5th or something like that. Wooden Hut Extender, it's like still a good card. I still think it's like in some sort of top region. I would move it down a lot though. Like the fact that it doesn't work early on, we're in a meta right now where like you really want to be having the first room built and having the first growth unless you're doing a 2-room strat. If you're doing a 3-room strat, then like you want growth as early as possible. And Wooden Hut Extender doesn't really help you do that. It helps you double build in round 6 and it helps you get your 4th and 5th room. So it's in this kind of like Clay supports this spot, except for it doesn't have any combo pieces that go with it. It just is like efficient on its own. But I think that I would move Wind Hut Extender down by quite a bit. I think that would move it down into like the top of A tier or something like that. Patron's also a card I've been very underwhelmed by. Patron's a card I would definitely move down a lot. I think that Patron should probably also go into A tier. And the reason is that Patron is only good if you get a critical mass of occupation cards. If you're playing Patron and then you only play like 3 occupations after it, it's like 6 food, and 6 food is quite simply not very good for an occupation. I mean, like, you know, Bean Counter, which, spoiler alert, Bean Counter is all the way down here, right? Probably still one of the worst occupations of all time. Bean Counter is still typically 6 food if you play it early on. The food comes at a bad time, but 6 food. For whatever reason, Patron... If it is 6 food, right, why do we rank it that differently than Bean Counter? Just because of the timing? Like, I don't think it's that different. If you have... The nice thing about Patron is that it has this ability to be good tempo-wise, and it has this ability to be good in terms of efficiency. So I think that Patron is not as high as this. I think that there aren't enough... The occupation enablers, if you get them into critical mass, are completely ridiculous. They're very powerful. But if you don't get them, then it's bad. I mean, I would definitely put it like around Furniture Maker, or maybe even below Furniture Maker. Furniture Maker is something else that's also quite good. Otherwise, in terms of S tier, like Chimney Sweep's so good. This card's still amazing. Patron's still, or Mason's still amazing. Grocer's still amazing. Patron is weird. I think I move it down though overall. All right, down to the A tier. So I mean, basically you can just shrink the A tier, and all the cards I mentioned, you just move them down. But yeah, Wood Barterer should be way higher up. Wood Barterer is probably like 3rd or 4th or something like that. Like I pick it around when I pick Childless or Grocer. I think it's very powerful. In the A tier, Cottager you have to move down. I have to move Cottager down, and the reason that you have to move Cottager down is because people are taking the day labor cards really aggressively. Also, like people have been taking Cottager too highly. Like Cottager is only good either with a bunch of other day labor cards, or if you have a bunch of good clay cards, like as an excuse to renovate to clay early on. And I think that like it's too infrequent that you get those cards. Like you have to have a pretty good setup for, like Cottager can be very powerful. There are a lot of games, like if you get Cottager Loam Pit, it will just immediately end the game. I think that you have to drop it down like a little bit. It's still really good in the right instance. I think the ceiling on Cottager is like very high. Like I think the ceiling on Cottager is as high as the ceiling on Assistant Tiller. And I don't think that's even like a conversation, because the ceiling on Cottager is that you get to build rooms, and the rooms give you your food, and you get to grow in those rooms. Like maybe you could have a furniture or something like that. Like I think the ceiling on Cottager is as high, if not higher, than the ceiling on Assistant Tiller. It's just that the floor is like way lower, and there's a lot of times where Cottager is just not going to make the cut in a game when you draft it highly. It's a very risky draft pick. You have to drop it down by quite a bit here. Definitely it's over some cards I would pick over Cottager, like almost certainly. Like I think all of these cards I would pick over Cottager for the most part. Maybe around the like Tutor Scholar tier is where you get stuff going on. Yeah, I mean we definitely moving Grocer up a little bit, but like a lot of these cards above it I'm moving down, so it's fine. Collector has to go in S tier. Collector is so good. The more I play with Collector, the better it is. The Collector's just like so good. People are still not using Collector correctly. That was surprisingly hard to say. People are still not using this card correctly. You can use it in stage 1 for a read plus resources plus animals plus crops action. It's very good. And then use it later on for more animals. You can use it in the late game for just animals. You can use it in the mid game to get animal pairs. Like you can use this card in so many different ways. I think that the more, this is like by far the highest skill card in the game. Every time that I have it, I feel like I have an avenue to victory regardless of how the game is going. Like it doesn't always pan out, but like there's always ways through the game with very creative collector lines that exist. And so I would definitely put this in S tier. I think it's around Grocer, honestly. And I don't think that like Collector, you have to give up points to get effectively what Grocer is giving you. Grocer, you have to give up food to do that. In some games, Grocer is going to be massively better if you have a lot of access to food. In some games, Collector is going to be better if you don't have much access to food and you want to get something that's like a food engine / will bail you out. But I think it's around there. I think that like Roof Baluster, Mason, like those cards I rank a little bit below Grocer. Like Chimney Sweep, I probably rank below Grocer too. And so like I'd put Collector around there, like maybe in like the 5th or 6th slot. I think it's very powerful. People sleep on it. People don't know how to play it, and it's really good by itself. Every time I have it, regardless of the other cards that I have, it tends to work. There are some games where you still don't play Collector. There's some games where it doesn't work out, but in the games where it just always feels like a powerful card to have. Other card, Field Watchman, I still am really low on. I think this is pretty appropriate for Field Watchman and like all these wood cards. I will say Furniture Maker is like pretty good. Furniture Maker and Bonehead are very similar. Maybe would all these cards I feel very similarly about. Plow Driver I feel similarly about. Water Worker is probably a little bit too high. Once again, people are overvaluing the day labor cards right now, and so as a result, it makes Water Worker, like it makes all the day labor cards not as good when you can't get multiple day labor cards together, which probably is for the best, honestly, because getting a critical mass of day labor cards can be game ending. So it should go down. Wood Expert's fine. The problem is that the food tempo on it is really awful. Like, I think Cultivator is, like, quite a bit better. I actually think Cultivator I rank above, like, all these cards right now. I think Cultivator, there's so many good plows. Like, Cultivator plus a plow is just, like, GG. or Cultivator plus anything that plows is like GG. Probably Cultivator could be up to S tier. Yeah, you could probably, but Cultivator I think I rank higher than all these cards in A tier, so you could probably put Cultivator in the bottom of S tier. Yeah, I mean the problem with day labor combos, right, is that like if people overrate them, they become less good for you to pick. If people underrate them, then they become really valuable to pick. So like, you know, it's a thing. I mean, there was a time where they were underrated. There was definitely a time where they were underrated last set where people weren't picking Kaiju super highly or anything like that, and so as a result, it was good. Winter Caretaker, you could probably move down a little bit. I'm not as high as Winter Caretaker. Yeah, not with strong players involved. Brushwood Collector, I think, is okay. This card's still fine. Tutor, you could move down as well. Occupation cards, people are also still overrating. Like Patron, I overrated here. This is like a massive overrating of Patron. A Tutor, like similar thing. Like you probably move this down. There are some drafts where Tutor is going to be really good, but in a live draft, Tutor is not going to be worth it to play. It loses a lot of tempo to play it. So there's some drafts where it's good, but sometimes it's not. And so it's like, I don't know, maybe this is appropriate, but you could maybe move it down to like the top of B tier or something like that. Scholar, I still think is fine. Yeah, I'm just looking for cards that I have like massive opinions on. You know what's funny? Papermaker, I might actually... Well, Papermaker is appropriate here, I think. Maybe Game Catcher's a little bit too high. Charcoal Burner might be a little bit too high here. But like these aren't like egregiously bad. I will say Porter, I would move Porter up quite a bit. Porter, I think everybody slept on Porter for a long time. Porter, you could probably move up to like the bottom of A tier. I think Porter is like super duper good. Yeah, like you do have to build a little bit around Porter. You really want to be able to use clay because you want turning 4 clay into 5 clay grabs is like so good if you can use the clay. Conditional on being able to use the clay. Like typically you're going to get 1 or 2 wood and food off of this, but like the real power is in being able to get clay. So given that you're able to get clay, Porter is completely incredible. But yeah, it's definitely like an A tier card. It triggers surprisingly frequently. It clears like surprisingly frequently. Yeah, Porter is very good. Schnapps in B. Where is Schnapps? I don't even see Schnapps Distiller. Is Schnapps in B? Where'd I put Schnapps? Schnapps is down here in C. Oh, you're saying Schnapps isn't in B. I mean, Schnapps is still situational. I don't think Schnapps is that good. Yeah, I don't think Schnapps is that good. I never want to pick Schnapps before I have a veggie card. I don't think it's worth picking Schnapps before you have a veggie card. I'd almost always rather pick... I would rather pick any of these cards over Schnapps, like always, unless I have a veggie card, in which case then it goes up a lot. But yeah, all these cards I feel mostly okay. Stonecutter still I'm not happy with. Yeah, Papermaker could also move up a little bit. I've been very happy with Papermaker. I'm not too upset with Woodcutter either. I don't think this is too high with Woodcutter. Harpooner might be a little high. Harpooner might be like a little teeny bit high. Like the Harpooner, like these cards, once you start to get down into this tier, these cards start becoming a lot more situational. Like, sure, Plowman is not very situational, but I find like food tempo on these cards to be kind of rough sometimes, and so for that reason, that's why they're down here, is because like you have to have pretty good food to be able to do that, and in a lot of games, you tend to not have great food around the time where you need to do this. Like, I don't think it's that crazy to have this down that low. Or, like, have Harpooner in this tier. I don't think that's that crazy. Yeah, like, I think the animal cards are good here. Game Catcher's probably a little bit high. I probably overrated this a little bit here. I think Game Catcher's more situational than this. You're saying Skill for Renovator is low? I think Skill for Renovator is not that good. I don't think Storehousekeeper is that good either. Storehousekeeper is appropriately tiered here. I think this is fine. Storehousekeeper is like a fine card. I don't think it's incredible. A lot of people overrate this card a lot, I think. You think C would be generous or Harpooner? I think there's some games where Harpooner is quite good. It just depends. Like it has a lot of variance, and so it's hard to give it an average ranking. I will say Stone Carver, is that what this is? Stone Carver belongs in the B tier. Stone is so bad in this set. And so having a way to convert stone into food is completely insane. And it often gives you a good amount of tempo, and it makes Reedstone food into like I think Reedstone food is just like not a good action in like it is still a good action obviously, but it's not a great action unless you have a way to do something with the stone, which is hard to do because like the only good thing to do with stone early is either clay oven if you're doing baking strats or building the well. And building the well is always good, but often you won't get enough stone to do that. So like having a way to turn that stone into food is just like incredible, and I really like Stone Carver a lot for that reason. I think that would move it up just for this meta, because there really is like not good ways for miners to use stone, and so I would just move it up. Otherwise, like, yeah, these cards are all pretty reasonable. These are all like pre-situational cards. Clay Carrier should be a little bit higher. I think this card's quite good. This card's really, really good too. I've been really impressed with Clay Carrier. Clay Plaster, I should move down. Clay Plaster kind of sucks. Fodder Planter is good. Yeah, Fodder Planter is good. I don't know if it's quite B tier, but it's good. It's not like too inappropriately placed. Yeah, now we're getting into the really situational stuff. Yeah, Hedgekeeper can be quite nice, but it's situational again. Where did I put Animal Dealer? Yeah, where did I put Animal Dealer? Is that right here? I mean, Animal Dealer you could move up a little bit, but I don't think it's like too egregiously placed. I think that this isn't like terrible. I don't think that it's like, I mean, maybe it's better than like Priest or something like that. Like, I don't know. I'd probably, maybe it's like around Priest, but yeah, I don't know. It's like somewhere, like, I don't think this is like too egregious. This feels about right for it. Like it might be a little bit low, but like Stone Carver I think is like far too low. I think you could put Stone Carver like up here with these cards and it wouldn't be like crazy. Like you could put it definitely above Conservator and it wouldn't be crazy to put Stone Carver above Conservator. So Skillful Renovator, yes. I don't like Skillful Renovator that much. And then what do we have in D tier? Is there anything I underrated in D tier? I know one card I underrated in D tier. Actually, I think Baker can be like, I don't know, it can be okay. Baker should probably be a little bit higher. Baker definitely can be okay. Freemason should probably be a little bit higher. There's some games where Freemason can be insane. I think it should be a little bit higher. But honestly, we're getting... Roughcaster should be lower. Roughcaster should definitely be lower. There's very little opportunity to play Roughcaster in this. Millwright. Yeah, Millwright can be okay. Where did I put Millwright? I don't even see Millwright on here. It's like up here. If I put it anywhere in this region, then it's probably fine. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Yeah, that's totally fine place for it. Yeah, Baker's okay. I mean, it's okay. I think you can move it a little higher. I think also, Firewood Collector is a card I was massively wrong about. Firewood Collector is way better than this. This was disrespectful to Firewood Collector to put it down here. This was some massive disrespect to Firewood Collector. You could put Firewood Collector, like, probably at the top of C tier. I think Firewood Collector is like pretty good. Building Tycoon. Yeah, Building Tycoon is also pretty good. Building Tycoon is a nasty card. I think that like sometimes Building Tycoon just like randomly will win you the game through allowing you to cheat into the growth queue when you're not supposed to be able to. And so for that reason, it should definitely be higher because you have to at least respect it. Like, I think it should be close to the top of C tier. Like, I would rather have it in my hand than a lot of these cards just because situationally it will win you a game. And that's worth a lot. But yeah, like these three cards I definitely slept on. I played a little bit more with Firewood Collector, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed with Firewood Collector overall. So it's definitely way better than this tier of cards. I definitely would put it higher. Hide Farmer should probably also be like a little bit higher, but not by much. So Bellfounder next to Geologist. Yeah, I mean, Bellfounder is like very situationally good. I would actually move Geologist down. I think there's not much room for Geologist to go down, but Geologist could go down. Oh, Reed Roof Renovator can go up too. Reed Roof Renovator has actually been kind of impressive. SSF, I don't know what SSF is. What is SSF? But yeah, Reed Roof Renovator could be higher as well. Yeah, frickin' Geologist is so bad. Oh, Small Scale Farmer? I don't think it's that high. I think there's enough 2-room strats. There's enough like reasons to be on 2 rooms that it's fine. I think it's fine. I think this is a fine area for it. I don't think it's too high or too low here. I think it's just in the middle. Yeah, I don't see anything else that I feel like I was egregiously off on. So to summarize, egregiously off on... Well, Freemason, I think, like, it has situation... Like, it's still a situational card, but I was very off on Firewood Collector. I think this card's way better than I put it here. It can get you a lot of wood if you're doing farming. If you're doing lots of farming, it can get you a lot of wood. There are a lot of cards that accelerate your farming, in which case this card won't be very good. But if you're doing farming, it's pretty nice to have that extra injection of wood. It's quite a bit of wood. Baker is more situationally playable. There are some games where you want... Baker without Potter Ceramics. Obviously, with Potter Ceramics, Baker's the best card that you can have, but without Potter Ceramics even, I've seen Baker be played and still be useful if you have a good influx of grain, and so I think for that reason, Baker could be a little bit higher as well. So yeah, so those are the cards like that I felt like I was massively wrong about. But like overall, like a lot of this tier list still stands. I just think towards the top, really, a few things have changed in terms of like probably like furniture over brushwood even. Like there's a few cards that have changed minorly, but the big ones is that wood barter is like way higher, collector's way higher. Power Smash is better than with Steam Engine. I don't agree with that at all. I definitely don't agree with that. Like, Baker's, like, so consistent. Yeah, of course Mason still has. Mason's so broke. This card's so dumb. I mean, I think that I would put Grocer above Mason, and I think I would put Collector above Mason. But Mason is still super dumb. It's such a dumb card. It's so stupid. Yeah, Mason is still dumb. I would also put Wood Barter, like, way above this. Yeah, Mason's crazy. But yeah, like I think everything else though is okay. Yeah, Winter Caretaker should go down to B probably. Like, and Cultivator should go up to S. Cultivator is very good. Yeah, Collector's so good. Collector's such a good card. But yeah, okay, that covers the occupations list. I think that covers the major things that I want to talk about. Let's talk about the minor tier list. Let's do the minor tier list. All right, I have not looked at this one in a while. Off the bat, the top looks... I mean, having Big Country at the top feels good. Big Country at the top definitely feels good. Because, yeah, Big Country should still be banned. This card's super dumb. And you should always two-room Big Country, too. I don't think that... yeah, I don't think it's going to work. I think that create this tier, because it's not gonna. I don't want to rebuild it from scratch. No, I don't want to rebuild it from scratch. I don't want to rebuild it from scratch. Carpenter's Parlor is still insane. Carpenter's Parlor is still so good. Clay Supports should probably be a little bit lower, but Clay Supports is also still really good. Oh yeah, Swing Plow I definitely have too low. Swing Plow should be an S tier card. Yeah, Swing Plow should be an S. Swing Plow should be above. Layas Patch is still quite good, but I think Layas Patch should be a bit lower. I think Bookshelf and Bookcase should be a little bit lower. These cards are very good, but I rank Loom above them. I rank Power Ceramics above these two cards, I think, most of the time. Like, playing Occupations, like, the better people have gotten... Which has happened, by the way. I definitely have noticed that people have gotten a lot better, but the better people get, the worse occupation cards are, because people start to draft the better cards more frequently, and so your late picks start to be worse. And so for that reason, I'm lowering the Oc cards pretty drastically. It's hard to get a critical mass of good occupation cards that you just, like, want to play all of them. Field Fences is okay. I might rank Sleeping Corner above Field Fences. Carrot Museum, I think I should downgrade to A tier. I think that Carrot Museum is still a very good card, and there's some combos with Carrot Museum that are really good. The problem is that, like, it's a very awkward card to play pre-round 8. It's actually a very awkward cost, and you have to have very specific cards that work with it, and if you don't have those specific cards, it's just not a very good card. So I'd probably knock Carrot Museum down. I mean, it is really good with Childless. It's, like, the best Childless card to have. It is pretty good with, like, Collector. It's good with, like, Seasonal Worker is pretty good. But, yeah, other than that, like, there's not an amazing amount of support for... Like, there's not there's not enough ways to get a lot of veggies. There's enough ways to get some. With Bookcase is very good, but, of course, Bookcase is a really high-tier card. You're very unlikely to get it, especially with Carrot Museum. So, probably I would move Carrot Museum down quite a bit. Like, I'd probably put Carrot Museum below, like maybe above Milk Jug. Like, around Milk Jug, I would put Carrot Museum. But, like, I think all these cards, maybe, like, Horse Drawn Boat should be a little lower, too. But all these cards I'd probably pick above Carrot Museum. Swing Plow should be S tier. Swing Plow is so good. I don't know why I ranked the Plow so low in my original video. It's just a mistake. But Swing Plow is the best Plow for sure. Yeah, I mean, Carrot Museum can be really hit or miss. I mean, if you have Carrot Museum with the right setup, it's incredibly powerful. If you don't have it with the right setup, it's just not very useful. But if you have it with the right setup, it's really, really powerful. Like with the right setup, you should be picking Carrot Museum very highly. Obviously, if you have a good way to get veggies early on, you should be picking it high. Like, if you have Bookcase, you have Seasonal Worker, you have Childless, you should be picking Carrot Museum insanely highly. No, Ramclay's not that low. I don't think Ramclay's that low. I don't think it's that low. All these cards are still really good. I don't think it's that low. I also don't think Lantern House is that low. Lantern House is still awkward. Like, I think I sleep on Lantern House a little bit. Like, it is still very awkward tempo to get early on. There's some games where you can't play it early on, and then it's just a dead card in your hand. But it's still pretty good. Well, no way. Trident's so good. I love Trident. I really like Trident. Milk Jug, I mean, they're very similar. I mean, I don't think this is like too dissimilar. Milk Jug and Horse-Drawn Boat. I don't think they're very dissimilar here at all. I think Trident's great. I think this is like appropriate. I think Trident's still very good. It's still really, really good. Like, yeah, I think this is fine. Straw Thatch Roof should probably be lower. Yeah, Straw Thatch Roof should be really a lot lower. I mean, I had it high because like it's really good with a couple of cards. Like it's super good with like any way that you have to get it up, but it should definitely be lower. Loam Pit. Loam Pit's still very high. Like, there are no other miners that work with day labor, and so if you're going to have a miner that works with day labor, Loam Pit is great. Also, the floor on Loam Pit's a lot higher because it's a minor improvement. Like it's a food for a point, which is a pretty high floor for a card, and it gives you a 3 clay action on a spot. So, like, I think Loam Pit here is pretty appropriate, given that, like, it's probably not going to be as powerful as, like, some of the cards below it some of the time. Like, it might not be as powerful as, like, Turn Rest Plow some of the time, but, like, there are some times when you have the Day Labor cards that is more powerful than that. So for that reason, I think it's fine there. Yeah, I think Straw Thatch Roof should be a lot lower. Education bonus should probably be a little bit lower, too. I mean, it's pretty good. It's just like a field, but no, this actually feels fine. This is a fine tier for it. Maybe Toad could be a little bit lower. Toad's not, like, great. Half Timbered should be a little bit higher. Yeah, Half Timbered should be higher. Half Timbered is like, if you have an early growth game, Half Timbered is the card that you want in your hand the most. So I would put Half Timbered a little bit higher. Blueprint, I think I would put lower. I think Blueprint, like it is such high variance card. Like, every once in a while it's so good, and then every once in a while it's so bad. Mantelpiece should also be way lower. Mantelpiece has been so bad in this set. There's like very few reasons I would ever want to pick Mantelpiece. Mantelpiece should be way lower here. I think that Private Force should also be lower. This card is bad. Woodfield, yeah, Woodfield here is still fine. I think it's still fine. The floor on this card is so high that it's fine. Yeah, Lone Pit combos with so many cards. Yeah, Lone Pit's so good. I definitely move Clay Pipe down. I would definitely move Private Forest down. Probably Blueprint I would move down a little bit. Straw Thatch Roof I would definitely move up to the A tier somewhere. I don't know where in the A tier, but like it's so good. It's so good because you don't have to play it if your game plan's not working around it. But then there's sometimes you get like, you know, ways to build Defy very easily, which there's a lot of in this set. And then you should be playing Straw Thatch Roof. Yeah, Private Forest should be a lot lower. It should be a lot lower. Private Forest is way worse than this. I think that Truffle Slicer is also way worse than this. Also, Vegetable Patch, I can never freaking play ever. In any game that I get Vegetable or Lettuce Patch, whatever this card is, I can literally never play it. I think this card sucks. It's so hard to play. Getting 2 sown veggies is awful in this set unless you have Carrot Museum. Like, that's the only instance in which I would ever want to sow 2 vegetables early on. Like, otherwise, like, sowing grain is good. I mean, this plow is still very good. Probably the plow could get moved up a little bit. Like, it could get moved up a little bit, but yeah, I mean, the 2+2 one is I like the 2+2 one a lot more. It comes down a lot earlier. It's a lot better tempo-wise. It gets you the same amount of fields with just 2 plow actions. This one I rank a lot higher than this one, but like, they're both still good. They're both still, I definitely, you could move this up to like, maybe around the Stork's Nest level or something like that. Like, Stork's Nest, I will say, is like, probably you should move Stork's Nest down a little bit, but Stork's Nest has like a really high floor on it, and it's like a good backup to have in case you're planning on building a lot of rooms and it flips around 7 growth. It's a nice backup to have, but like Stork's Nest is not a card that you want in every single game, and of course you're playing with extra action spaces, then Stork's Nest is bad. So what else is down here? Butter Churn should probably be a little bit higher. I'm pretty high on Butter Churn. Yeah, Butter Churn is pretty good. This should probably be a good amount higher. Reed Pond, or whatever this card is, should probably be a little bit lower. Hutch should probably be lower. I hate the read cost on this card. Sheepwell should maybe be a little bit lower. Although, honestly, I think Scullery should be a little bit higher, too. Scullery is so good. Otherwise, where are we getting to? Stone Clearing could be a little bit higher. Stable could be a little bit higher. Lasso, I always, like, I never pick it this highly in my games around this tier, but then every time Lasso gets played against me, I just am so mad it's in the game. Feed Fences should be way higher. Feed Fences should be, like, way higher. Feed Fences is incredible. Feed Fences should probably be in B tier. Like, Feed Fences honestly should be in B tier. This card is, like, so good. I was sleeping on Feed Fences a lot. Yeah, Hutch should be around wherever Chicken Coop is, that's where Hutch should be. Hutch should be, like, next to Chicken Coop or lower. Like, all these cards with the read cost are really awkward in them. They should all be next to each other. Granaries 2. Well, these cards are kind of fine here, I think. Maybe these cards should be just like the top of C tier, just semantically. I think these cards are a jump. But yeah, Feed Fences should be in B tier. Feed Fences is so good. This card's been so impressive. Like, getting 6 food and being able to build stables with the clay is really, really good. It's very, very good. Probably Muckrake could be a little higher too. There's a lot of situations where you end up wanting to build Muckrake. Muckrake is like pretty easy to get a point or two off of, and a lot of people go for 3-point Muckrake, but I think that Muckrake is probably still fine as just like a 2-point card later on. I think Thick Forest, maybe this is fine for Thick Forest, but Thick Forest is also not good. It's really hard to get up. What else do we have in D tier? Yeah, all these cards are bad. Canoe's probably a little low, but I don't really care. Because it's Canoe. Yeah, the stable combos are good. Wait, where did I put Supply Boat? Yeah, Big Country should be in the ban tier. I agree. Steam, I don't like Steam Machine that much. It should probably be a little bit higher. Like, it should probably be like a little bit higher in the D tier, but not that much higher. Yeah, it's like Baker. It's a little worse than Baker because the restriction is a lot more. Getting an accumulation space as your last move is actually a pretty big cost. The accumulation spaces tend to be pretty dried up. Like, you want to take an animal with your last action if you're taking that. And typically you're never going to get 2 animals. Like, you're going to be taking like 2. I don't know. The restriction on it sucks. I think the restriction on it sucks. I hate every time I play with this card. First of all, I only play with it when I have Potter Ceramics. Second of all, when I play with the Potter Ceramics, it's fine because I can take like a Wimpy Clay action and it's totally fine. But like when you play this card and there's a lot of actions in the game, then like your last action is not going to be very good with it, and you have to take a worse action than you might otherwise would just to get a bake off. And I'm not a huge fan of that. There are situations where it's good, but Oven Firing Boy was better than the Steam Machine. I think that's not true only because Steam Machine's a minor improvement. If Steam Machine were an occupation, I would agree with you. But Steam Machine is being a minor improvement makes it a little bit better because it's easier to play minor improvements than it is to play occupations. But I agree, the effect on Oven Firing Boy is far better than the effect on Steam Machine. Yeah, I think that it could be a little bit higher. It should definitely be above Manger. I hate Manger, so it should be above Wool. Also, Wool Blankets sucks. Wool Blankets you can move down to like the D tier. Oh, Feraxis, thank you so much for the Feroxis. Sorry, thank you so much for that sub. I appreciate it. Thank you for the Prime. Yeah, I mean, all these cards are bad. Brook can be okay. I don't know. All these cards are very bad. Sculpture could maybe be a little higher. Wildlife Reserve could maybe be a little bit higher. But yeah, I don't really care about that. But yeah, I mean, the big ones are like the Plow I really slept on. I think that like last patch I put too high. Card's still very good, but it's a little bit too high. Sleeping Core is probably too low. Loom should be around, like, I probably put it around Clay Supports. It's very close. If I open a Luma and a Clay Supports in a pack, I'm going to have trouble. I still probably pick Carpenter's Parlor over Loom here. But it's close. It's close. Honestly, my minor tier list has aged pretty well. This is aged pretty well, all things considered. I feel pretty good about this tier list, all things considered. Like, there's a couple of misses here, but this is aged way better than my occupation tier list has. There's a lot of... Well, this should be in D tier too. This Mantelpiece should also be in D tier, and Private Forest. But there's a couple misses here, but not that many. Pitchfork Field Watchman. I think Pitchfork Field Watchman is, like, not good at all. Like, it can be good, but yeah, miners have a look. I don't know, man. We got like Stork's Nest in here. We got Foreignade. We got like Lantern House. Like, these are all pretty high variance cards. Carrot Museum. Like, there's some high variance cards. But I think you're right. I think in general they're lower variance. What cards are still missing on BGA? So right now it's only A through D deck. But they're gonna hopefully add more cards soon. So, all right, that's my review of my tier lists. Hopefully that clarified some things where we're at in the season. I don't think like majorly my opinions, like, there's a couple of small things that my opinions have changed on, where like instead of trying to build a lot of rooms, I'm trying to figure out ways to farm more efficiently, and I'm trying to figure out ways to like take advantage of things going on at the table, because like there are some games that are going to be, there's a lot more variance in games with this set. So you know, you just got to try and play to whatever the gap is that's missing. You want to try and play to a strength that other people don't have, and I think that's sort of the best way to play Agricola. So, yeah, so as a result, a couple of my opinions have changed, but let me know what you think in the comments. What cards have I been massively wrong on? And for the YouTube people, I will see you next time.